In this question, we're going to look at how to move emails from Outlook over to your Workbox. First of all, the reason you might want to do this is a lot of the information that we receive nowadays arrives via email. So whether that information's come in from a colleague, maybe they've sent you an email that includes some information about meetings or schedules that are coming up, or whether it's perhaps a customer that you're working with or a supplier, someone external. Again, they might have emailed you. As part of the email, they've sent you a series of different attachments, maybe whether it's photographs or Word documents or Excel spreadsheets. So that's the first thing. It's quite clear that for a lot of you, you might well want to take a copy of that information that's arrived in your email and potentially at that point is only available to you. And you want to take a copy of that information and make it available within your Workbox. So when you copy something to a Workbox, it means that a much wider group of people, much wider audience can now see that information. So that's the good news. The not so good news is that this is not available to everyone. So there are some limits on where this is available. So let's just talk first of all about those limits and just work out exactly who will be able to do this. So first of all, this idea of copying information from your Outlook into a Workbox is not available if you're working on a Citrix environment. So any of you that work purely on a Citrix environment, what we're about to do won't be possible. So that's the first thing. Second of all, you need to have installed on your local machine a piece of software called AI Sync Point. So there's a piece of software called AI Sync Point. What you can do is you can request AI Sync Point, and at that point you're then ready to follow the steps that I'm about to show you. So just to confirm, there's two things that have to be in place. You can't be working on Citrix, so you cannot be working on Citrix, and you also need to have AI Sync Point installed. So assuming those two things are now in place, again, you might need to go away now and get those two things resolved, but assuming those things are in place, we're now ready to show you a demonstration that can allow you to move a copy of information from Outlook over to a Workbox. You can see behind me, I've already logged in to Izzy. At the moment, I'm on the default page, which you access when you log into Izzy, which is the Me page. Before I can think about moving any emails around, I need to establish a relationship between Outlook and the Workbox. So the way we do that is we start off by going into a team site that we've got access to, and then we're going to navigate down into one of our workboxes. In this case, we're actually using a meeting workbox, but this would work for any of the other types of workbox, such as a policies workbox or a project workbox. So this one happens to be a meeting workbox. On the left-hand side of the screen, when I'm in the workbox, I'm going to click onto the Documents link. I'm then going to head up to the top of the screen and click on the Workbox tab. And what that gives me access to then is tucked away in there, a fairly large button, Connect to Outlook. If you navigate into there and find that button's grey and it's not available, all you need to do is click on the Document tab again and it will become available. So we've now clicked on to Connect to Outlook. There's a couple of prompts warning me, are you sure, is this okay? All we need to do is press yes. After a couple of seconds, over on the left-hand side of the screen in Outlook, a little icon appears that represents the relationship between your Workbox and Outlook. What also happens at the same time is a copy of all of the files that are stored in the Workbox become visible and, in fact, are available to you within Outlook. So this now gives us a synchronized version of the information that's available from that Workbox. What we're showing here is that it's not possible at this stage to drag information from my inbox straight into the link that we just established. The reason at the moment that I'm not allowed to grab an email and drag it straight from my inbox and into that link on the left-hand side for the Workbox is because I do not have AI Sync Point installed. So if you get to this point and you find you can't drag into your inbox, it just means, again, like me, you don't have AI Sync Point installed and it won't work. Okay? So all you need to do is put in a request and you can have AI Sync Point installed on your local machine. And at that point, it would look basically the same, but you can drag the emails straight from your inbox into the relationship there, the connection that's showing. What that will do is take a copy of that file you've dragged in, and it would upload it for you automatically into your Workbox. Just to show you a picture of how that might look, I've got a couple of examples of how that might appear. So this is a much busier Outlook inbox. We can see actually in this case down the left hand side we've got connections to 5 or 6 different workboxes. You can see here this is what it would look like with AI Sync Point installed. You can see each of those connections to a different workbox appears as a small brown box, these little brown boxes down that left hand side. So within Outlook I can also see within those brown boxes a series of folders. So this represents the folder structures that are in the workbox as well. One thing to mention is that you don't always have to drag an entire email into the workbox. The example here shows that you could actually drag either the entire email into a workbox, in which case the email, its content and all attachments are copied across. In some cases though, you don't need the whole email. What you might want to bring across is just 1 or 2 of the attachments. So you can see one of the arrows here shows that when you're looking at a specific attachment within Outlook, you can drag that straight across into the workbox using Outlook as well.